Belli! Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the first time that I'm making something like this and it's quite complicated. It's a mess around here. So I have to draw this commission. It's a puppy. I will be talking today about a bit about me, about my artistic journey, about random stuff. So bear with me, and I hope this is not going to turn out too ugly. I will speed the video and just talk. Here's a nice challenge for a monotasking artist like me. I'll try to draw while talking to you and possibly making sense. So let me introduce myself a bit. I'm Beatrice Bassoli, very Italian, and as some of you may know, I look much younger than I am. No, I'm 31. You probably saw some artists' interviews, and they always start with I've always wanted to be an artist, I've always wanted to draw, I've always wanted to be an animator, whatever. I started when I was little, and then they show you their childhood drawings and stuff like that. Of course I love drawing, everybody loves drawing when they're kids. And yes, I started making comics when I was very young. I was 14 or maybe 15 when I started my first comic. Back then I still do, I really liked strip comics. My all-time favorites, I guess, are Calvin and Hobbes, of course Peanuts, and Lupo Alberto. I was in love with Lupo Alberto, you probably don't know it. It was very famous back then in Italy. I started making my first little comic with my sister, Arianna. We used to write these little strip comics about these kids were always skipping school and smoking, and sometimes you could see what they were thinking in their smoke puffs. It was really cute, really fun to make. And we went to one of the first Lucca Comics conventions. It was not that big at the time. It was really cool because I had my own space and met a lot of people, and an editor told me that it was very promising and cool. We had our website and everything, but you know, I was 14 and I had a lot going on, so it went on for like 1 year, 1.5 years, this thing. And yeah, I had other things to focus on at the time. I was quite unsocial, not that now I'm the most social person. Well, let's say I didn't really fit in my class, I didn't feel that I belonged. Not that they were necessarily bad or mean kids, some of them were. I was bullied once or twice. Oh yeah. Let's just not talk about those times. Well, the only place where I felt that I really belonged, I had a friend in class, thanks God. The only place that I felt that I would fit in when I was in high school was the drama group. I was doing drama after school, like 2 or 3 times a week. It was quite intense, and I loved it. I loved it so much that I didn't have time to do much else. So I spent basically from when I was 14 to when I was 23, I spent all the time doing drama because that's what I felt was my calling. I thought that that was the only option, really. I didn't think that I could become a comic artist. I didn't know many people who were drawing comics. It was not really my scene back then. So I thought, well, this is a place where I can express myself, where I can be free. And it was fun. After I finished high school, I got in this very competitive school. It's one of the best drama schools here in Italy. There were thousands of people trying to get in, and they would just take 20 people, 10 boys and 10 girls. So it was quite hard to get in, but I got in when I was 19. And I spent 3 years doing this drama school. After I graduated from this famous drama school, I realized that it was not really the thing for me. I don't think I was in the game because I really liked, like maybe my colleagues, the spotlight, you know, and being in the center of attention. It was too much for me, and I felt that if I wanted to be an actress, I would have been miserable. I would have had a miserable life. It wasn't for me. It's just that I really miss it sometimes. Sometimes I do some stuff with my friends, which is fun. But I do miss the stage, and you know, what I really liked about making theater, about drama, was building something, making something together with other people and bring a story to life. It's really magic. After I graduated, I decided to go back to comics. I am a huge anime fan. I love animation. It's probably my favorite media. So I started to do the animation course of 3 years here in Rome. And those, I guess, were the best years of my life. I was in this class together with other 4 students. And these are really good friends of mine. I loved to work with them, and I still do. I still work with especially one of them. So if you are a young artist, I really recommend you take a course, master, whatever it is. Just study, because it's a great experience, and you will learn so much faster than you would do if you were just learning by yourself. You can learn how to draw by yourself or watching tutorials or stuff like that, but if you want to get into the animation industry, I really recommend, and you're young of course, I really recommend you go to an animation school, to a good one. You really want to have a good education, and if you go to a good school, it will give you the connections to get into the industry. I went to a good school here in Italy, but animation schools in Italy are not French or Americans schools, or also Germans. There are some good schools. It depends what kind of thing you're into, but it didn't give me the connections that I needed to get into the industry. So I tried to get into the big studios, you know. I wanted to get into Cartoon Network, but I didn't get in. Another thing I really recommend you to do if you are a young artist or an artist, you should really go to conventions. If you're interested in animations, go to ANSI, go to your local, if you have it, festival or convention, meet people. That's the best way to grow and to get a job. It's always like that. It's about connections. So after school, I worked for, I guess, 7 years, and I did a lot of stuff, learned a lot of things, and they were all different. I was working at a documentary for Oman, and I was making these hyper-realistic paintings and animating them. And the next day I was creating content for social media campaigns for Western Union. So, I mean, so I had to adapt. I had to, and what I'm trying to do is to try and use all of the skills that I learned. A lot of people tell me that they love how I draw expressions. What I do is always just act it out. I always take pictures and videos as reference, and of course my actress career was important, and I use it. So maybe it's not the way you expected, but you end up using what you learn, even if you don't end up doing that thing exactly or entering that industry. So let's skip forward to Life of Billy. It started in 2017, so 3 years ago, end of 2017. So one day I went to this convention. It was an animation convention in Vienna. I was living in Vienna back then. I met these guys who were in the gaming industry, and they told me, "Are you doing Inktober this year?" I was like, "What? What's Inktober?" They told me, "Yeah, you have to draw something for every day of October." I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a try." So I had to come up with something that I could, that was flexible enough to come up with something, some idea for a comic every day. I thought, well, you know, what about myself? My experiences, my everyday life, it's just the easiest way to get ideas and to do something spontaneous and, you know, honest. A lot of people are doing slice of life, diary comics nowadays, and back then too, but I felt that it was a good thing for me too. So I started Life of Bibi. In the first months, only Bibi was there. I didn't come up with Skotos yet. So after some time I felt that my strips, my comics were a bit, you know, seen and repetitive and a bit dull, a bit, yeah, they were funny, but were things that I saw somewhere or heard somewhere, wasn't really fresh. That's why I came up with Skotos. Maybe I will make a video on Skotos. When you're doing something humoristic, like I wanted to, you have to pick very different characters. You have to pick opposites. So I wanted an alter ego. Do you say that in English? I don't know. You know, someone that was very opposite of Bibi and that could represent somehow her feelings, her anxieties. I wanted Bibi to become the cheerful and naive and easygoing, positive character, and Skotos to be, you know, the dark side, but also the wise side, the most rational one. That's how the Life of Bibi that you know came to life. And I went on, I'm still going on, and trying to figure out new ways of telling these stories. Like I was in my career up until now, with Life of Bibi 2, I'm trying to be as fluid as possible. Because everything changes so quickly, you know. I started Inktober on Instagram in 2017. It was so much different from what is now. It's been some time that I felt the need to share my experience, share my knowledge with you guys, because I see a lot of videos of artists on YouTube and vlogs and stuff, and I find it so inspiring, and you get to learn a lot from others' experience. You learn maybe to not to make the same mistakes they did. Do not make my mistakes, I beg you. But all these stories from these artists that I follow on YouTube or you know, that make vlogs and talk about their experience, their stories, they are so much different from mine. And I feel that if you're at my age and you want to be an artist and you had a very diverse experience as I did, maybe you need to hear a different story, have a different perspective. And I always had people telling me that it was impossible what I am today trying to achieve. And you know, the classical thing, what do you do for a living? I'm a comic artist. Okay, but how do you make money? And I still make money from various things. It's all artistic, yes, but it's definitely not perfect, and that's fine too. That's perfectly fine too. So I told you my story. Now I'm 31 and I'm trying to make this work, it's not easy. It took me 3 years, but I finally managed to get a nice following base. There's people who really love what I do, and I'm super grateful to you guys. And I managed to publish a book, making another one. I did achieve something. Still, I'm not making a living off comics yet, and that's normal. It takes years to get it, and also, it was 2020. It was not the best year to publish a book. But I'm going on and trying to figure out new ways to keep this going and make it land somewhere. It's not always easy. I have a lot of fun while I make comics, while I come up with ideas, and it's great when you end up with something that you like, feel like you expressed something and you did it in the best way you could with the time you had. I'm working so much. I live with a lot of frustration and stress, and I do it because there's no other choice for me. That if I wasn't able to express myself artistically, tell the stories that I want to tell, I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't live a happy life. And that's the point. That's the whole point. You need to be happy. You just need to balance things out. I'm definitely not the one who's going to give you a recipe. So every story is different. Every artist has his own unique artistic journey. And it depends on so many things. Where you live, where you were born, your family, your needs, your taste, your talents too. But in the end, what truly matters is that you don't lose sight of what's necessary to you. So here we are, here's my story, and I hope you like this video. I'm gonna take so long in editing this thing. It's been going on for more than 30 minutes now. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. It means everything to me. You're so beautiful. You're great. I love you. Thank you. If you like this video, you know what to do. And if you want to share your experience, please write it in the comments. I'm sure it will be unique and inspiring. It's always good to share. So thank you. See you in the next video. Ciao belli!